So in today's video, I'm going to share with you a story of when I got robbed in the Philippines. It's quite a crazy story, and you know what, for as crazy as it was and as bad of a situation as that was, it actually went pretty well. So it was my first time in the Philippines. I'd gone there alone, and basically the day I got in, I was super excited to go see the place. So I got in late in the afternoon, early evening, dumped all my things in my hotel and went out for a night out. Just before I left the hotel to go out, the security guard's like, "Oh, where are you going?" And I said, "I don't know, I'm just gonna go for a walk." I had no plan of where I was gonna go. I just wanted to walk and see where I ended up. He said, "Oh, you have to be really careful around here. You know, it's a really dangerous area." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's okay." You know, people say that about like most parts of Southeast Asia, right? That it's dangerous or whatever. So I didn't really give it much thought. Anyway, I went out that night and I had a really good time. No dramas, like no issues at all. So on the second night, I decided to go out again, and I went out in Makati. So Makati's a great area, and I ended up really liking there eventually. And that was the area I chose to stay, like now when I go back. So I went out for a night out, and I didn't really have much planned. I just sort of got some beers and went for a walk. And I was walking around, just sort of seeing where I was going to end up. Anyway, I got talking with a lady. So I was walking down the street, and a lady came up to me and she said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I don't really know. I'm just off to go have some drinks and go for a walk." And she told me she manages a nightclub and would I like to go. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I like nightclubs, like yeah, I can go." Now, I'm normally much smarter than this, but for whatever reason this time, I just like totally let my guard down. So I travel a lot, I do a lot of solo travel, and I'd like to think that I'm quite street smart and I'm good at traveling. You know, I know things to look out for and things to avoid. This time I just completely messed up. So anyway, I got talking with this lady and she asked me if I wanted to go to a nightclub, and I said, "Yeah, sure. Where is it?" She said, "Oh, it's just down the road. Like, I'll show you." And I thought, okay, yeah, cool. I'll come along and check out this nightclub. She was really clever. She spoke great English and managed to engage me in a really good conversation. So I guess I just slowly let my guard down. So we're walking down the street, we're having a great conversation, having a really nice time. And she takes me to a building that looked like it was going to be a nightclub. So we walk in through like a big set of doors. There's two big guys out the front that look like security, right? So we walk past them, she says hello to them, we walk past them and walk in this giant doorway. Anyway, as I go in the building, the door closes behind me and I look around and we're in an empty room. And at that moment I knew like, shit, this is not good. So up until that point, everything had looked okay. You know, it seemed quite normal. It looked like we were going into a nightclub. We walked past the security guards and everything. It's just we went into I don't know what it was, just like a big abandoned something. Maybe it used to be a nightclub or something like that. But anyway, I'm in this empty room and I knew straight away what was up. And I knew like this is not a good situation to be in. So I just basically leveled with her. I was like, "All right, what do you want?" And she said like, "I want your money." So being in a situation like that, like I'm happy to give money. Well, I'm not happy to give money. I'm okay to give money, you know, but I don't want to lose my phone. And I didn't bring my wallet, you know, for that reason. You got like credit cards and all those things. So I go out and I only take cash with me when I'm in a new place like that and I'm not quite sure about my surroundings. So that time in particular, I was actually even more careful. So I really didn't lose that much in the end. So what I did that day, and this is a great travel tip for if you're going somewhere that you're not sure about or you think it's potentially dangerous, you know, there's the chance that you might get robbed or something like that, was I was wearing 2 pairs of shorts. So my shorts underneath had my phone, most of my money, and just like everything I needed for that day, like my room key and stuff like that. And then the pair of shorts on top, I just had maybe $10 or $20 or something like that. Anything I was prepared to lose basically. So in that situation, when she asked me for money, I basically just pulled the money out of my pocket, pulled my pockets inside out to show her that that's all I had. And then that was all that she ended up taking from me. So she definitely wanted more. She was quite unimpressed by how much money I had on me, and she was asking like, where am I staying and stuff like that. And I was just like throwing off. I just said, oh, I'm staying in a backpackers. I'm a backpacker. I'm like a student. I don't have much money, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, throughout all this, she was actually surprisingly nice to me. And I didn't feel, I don't want to say I didn't feel unsafe, because I did feel unsafe. I definitely wasn't enjoying the situation, but she wasn't aggressive towards me at all. What was really unique about the situation, I guess, is that this was a lady robbing me, and she wasn't like, she didn't look like a gangster or anything like that. She was just like any ordinary lady. I want to say she was in her like late 40s or 50s, or sort of around that age group, and she seemed like a lovely person normally. But you know, being in that situation with a lady, it's different. Like if it's a guy, maybe I can fight or try and do something. But then also on the flip side of that, if I had done something and she screamed or whatever, there's the two guys outside, the big guys, they would have come running in. There was only one way in or out. So if it had gotten ugly, I imagine it would have gotten really ugly. And that's definitely what I was trying to avoid. I was basically just trying to de-escalate the whole situation the entire time. So I gave her the money, and like I said, she wanted more, but like I made it clear that she wasn't going to get any more, that I didn't have any more. And then in the end, she was fine. And she was like, all right, cool, let's go. So we just walked out. It was just like basically a transaction. So we walked out the doors, past the guys. She sort of gave the guys a nod, and we walked off and out into the street. The funny thing was, what happened next, I would never have imagined ever. So we get outside, and she's like, okay, thank you. Like really politely thanked me. And I was like, okay, whatever. And she's like, how are you getting home? And I said, like, what do you mean? And she's like, do you need money for a taxi? So out of the money that she'd stolen from me, she actually gave a little bit back so that I had money to get a taxi back to where I was staying. Nicest thief ever. So because of what happened, I had a completely wrong impression of what the Philippines was like. You know, I was kind of on edge for the rest of my time there. I wasn't there for very long in that trip. I was only there for a few days, and I was on edge the whole rest of the time. You know, there'd be people like walking near me, and I thought, oh, you know, these people watching me, they're sussing me out. You know, is this a dangerous place? I've since been back to the Philippines a ton of times, and it's not the case at all. It was just a really, really one-off experience. So I'm normally much smarter than this when I travel and don't let myself get into situations like this. I just totally let my guard down, and you know, it was my mistake to get in that situation in the first place. I'm very lucky that for as bad of a situation as it was, it actually went really well. You know, it's just basically a clean transaction and I was out of there. But I was actually quite disappointed in myself for even getting into that situation in the first place. So I've since been back to the Philippines, I want to say about 6 or 7 times since then. And I love the place. I absolutely love Manila. I stay in the same place around Makati. It's a great area. And I've had no other issues after that. It was just, literally was just a one-off thing for me. But I do really love the Philippines. I want to go back there. I'm waiting for it to open. I made great friends there. So I miss my friends from there. And I do plan to visit there quite a bit. You know, being here in Thailand, I'm not that far away. I can do sort of short, quick trips over there. And I'm not trying to shit on Manila or anything here. You know, I actually really love the place. When I was there, I did a lot of traveling around. I went to like some slum areas. I went to like poor neighborhoods. I went all over, and I was greeted by nothing but lovely people. I had some of the most amazing experiences there. And it's not at all what I thought. You know, I did think it was dangerous for a while. And then, you know, over time and spending more time there, I sort of got more and more comfortable. And now it's something I don't even think about anymore when I'm there. So what's the moral of the story, you know, have your wits about you when you travel, for sure. You know, like I said, I was disappointed in myself for getting myself into that situation at the time. You know, I was lucky I was doing the 2 shorts thing, and that's something I don't do anymore in the Philippines. I don't worry about that anymore. It's not really a concern of mine. But having said that, I haven't found myself in situations like that since then. Like, I haven't even had them presented to me, you know. I really think it was just like an isolated incident, and it's not something that bothers me, you know. I only lost $20 out of it, and it gave me a little bit more wisdom with travel. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. I'm running out of daylight. Anyone watching from the Philippines, I'm not shitting on the Philippines. I love the place. I can't wait to go back. But I hope you enjoy this. I'll splice the B-roll with like clips and footage from my other trips that I had there in Manila, because I had such a great time when I'm there. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching. See you next time. So I get really excited to make these videos every day. Maybe not today. Today I'm off to immigration. Let's go.